Sagittarius urgent double exclamation mark. Your mother in heaven has a secret to reveal. Sagittarius, have you ever suddenly walked into a room, opened your phone, or simply paused in the middle of life and felt as if something invisible was pulling you closer? A strange stillness, a magnetic force from within your soul that you couldn't quite name. If you're listening to this right now, it's not by accident. This is a message that has been waiting for you. A message never meant to be spoken in noise, but only to be delivered through whispers. A sacred whisper. And today, it has found its way to you. This is not just an astrological reading. Not just a random story. This is a divine unveiling. A secret from your mother in heaven, yes, your spiritual mother. The one who has followed your journey. The one who cried silently every time you collapsed. And the one who stirred all of heaven to bring this message to you, in this very moment. She has waited long enough. And now, she speaks. I want you to listen, not just with your ears, but with the deepest part of your heart. Because what you're about to hear is not just words, but memory, truth, and destiny awakening. You see, Sagittarius, you were never born to live a small, silent life. The fire within you, it was placed there by divine intention. The fire of seekers, of healers, of souls that will not accept the limits between heaven and earth. And yet, even the brightest flame can flicker when the world turns cold. You've given so much of yourself. You've endured betrayals that left no scars on your body, but shattered the map inside your soul. You've walked alone. Smiled while breaking inside. Offered your light to those who never knew how to hold it. And in the midst of all that, you've whispered, sometimes through tears. Is anyone out there? Does anyone still see me? Yes. She sees you. Your mother in heaven has seen it all. And she has chosen this moment, this very breath, to reveal something that can no longer be hidden. That's why you're here. That's why your spirit stirred when this message came to you. Because a divine arrangement is taking place. You are being invited into a truth, one you've waited your entire life. Maybe even many lifetimes, to finally hear. So please, don't scroll away. Don't ignore the quiet echo inside you that's saying, this is for me. Because it is. And I promise you, what will be revealed in the next few minutes will reach the deepest parts of your being. The part that has longed for freedom, for clarity, for divine justice to embrace you. And if your heart is already beginning to stir, if your soul recognizes the energy behind these words, then write this in the comments, not just for me, but as a declaration to heaven. I am ready to receive the secret heaven has kept just for me. Don't see it as just a sentence. See it as a covenant with the stars, like reaching back to the hand reaching for you from the unseen world. And one more thing. If you feel this message didn't reach you by coincidence, take a breath and share it. Not to gain attention, but to let this sacred energy ripple even farther. Somewhere out there, someone, just like you, is waiting for a sign. And maybe, just maybe, you are the messenger heaven has chosen to carry it. I have to be honest with you, Sagittarius, not everyone understands you. In fact, there are times even you have doubted yourself. There have been seasons when you looked around and found yourself standing alone. Surrounded by people who could only see the surface, and no one who truly saw the depth in you. They called you a dreamer, a wanderer, someone always ready to run. But there's something they didn't know. It's this, you're not running away. You're searching. You're not unstable. You're intuitive. And you're not inconsistent, you are evolving. Not everyone is born with a soul as vast as yours. With a heart that dares to go further, see wider, love deeper, even when it means you get hurt. I used to be like you. There were days I wondered if I had taken the wrong path. But then I realized. You live as if you carry an ancient map within you. not made of paper, but of sensation, with tiny arrows leading you to invisible truths. Others need plans, proof, guarantees. But you only need a spark from your soul to begin the journey. And so you've gone. You've loved. You've failed. You've fallen. And still, you keep going. Maybe you never said it out loud, but I know. There have been nights when you quietly asked yourself, did I take the wrong road? Was all this courage even worth it? And today, I want to tell you this, with all honesty and deep reverence for your soul, yes. It was absolutely worth it. Because you're not just living your own life. You are opening the way for other souls to believe in the voice within them. You are a living reminder that the human soul was never born to live trapped in fear. It was born to break through walls, to see what the eyes cannot see, to trust when nothing makes sense. And if that causes you to be misunderstood, it's still worth it. If it causes you to be alone, it's still worth it. Because truth always has a price. But you've already paid it. With tears. With the times you loved and weren't loved in return. With the dreams you had to set aside out of duty. With the words you swallowed while others spoke over you. With the silent forgiveness you gave, knowing that holding on to resentment saves no one. And because you've come this far, because you never gave up, today, the sacred gate is opening for you. I want you to think back, in recent days, have you felt a subtle, yet undeniable shift? Perhaps a repeating dream. A haunting coincidence. Something deep within whispering, something important is about to happen. That's not your imagination. That is energy in motion. And your sacred mother, she is guiding you across an invisible threshold. Where the past no longer has power, and the future begins to be written from your heart, not from your fear. And here, I want to share with you a lesson that took me a long time to truly understand. We are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to rise after it. Sagittarius, you have risen more times than you realize. And each time you did, tired, unseen, you were rewriting your destiny. You are no longer the one who needs to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to bow before those who cannot see your worth. You are light. And light does not need permission to shine. So if something in your heart is trembling right now, trust it. That's resonance. That's heaven saying, you've heard correctly, child. I invite you, right now, to write an affirmation in the comments, not for me, but for the universe to hear. I no longer live in the shadows of my past. I am stepping into the destiny heaven designed just for me. This is not just a promise, it is a declaration. And if you can, share this message. Because maybe, someone out there is waiting for a reminder. A beam of light. And maybe, you are the one God is using to carry that light to them. You see? Your sacred mother has never forgotten you. Even when you forgot to pray. Even when you lost your way. Even when you felt unworthy, she still saw you as a noble soul. Not because you were perfect, but because you were honest. Not because you never made mistakes, but because you always returned to the light. And today, she whispers to me, and I listen, to send you this message. You don't need to keep struggling. What is yours will return to you. Not through pressure, but through grace. You don't have to try so hard to be loved. You don't have to sacrifice your truest self to be accepted. Divine love, the kind you deserve, is coming. But it can only stay if you dare to say to yourself, I don't need to carry this burden anymore. I don't need to hide anymore. I am me, and that is enough. And I want you to pause for a few seconds. To breathe. To truly feel what has just been spoken. Because you're not just hearing with your ears, you're hearing with your soul. And I believe, if you're still here, then a part of you already knows. A new chapter is opening. And it begins with this very moment. With this choice, not to turn back. Not to shrink. Not to wait for someone else to validate your worth. Because you, yes, you, are living proof that light never goes out. If we still believe in it. You know? There's something I've come to realize after many years of listening to and observing Sagittarius souls. No one holds on to belief as wholly as you do. When the world turns its back, you still believe. When every promise breaks, you still keep a space in your heart for hope. But sometimes, because you are so generous, so idealistic, so forgiving, others assume you don't feel deeply. That you forget easily, that you move on without scars. They don't know, you've endured far more than you show. You don't make a scene. You don't seek revenge. You don't broadcast your wounds, but deep down, you remember. You still ache. You still wonder, am I the only one who cared enough to be hurt? And if today, you're feeling that way, let me tell you this. The pain you carry is not meaningless. Every time you forgive, you're not weak, you are stronger than most. Every time you give someone another chance, it's not because you're foolish, it's because you hoped they'd grow. But not everyone learns. And not everyone is meant to walk the full path with you. Write this in the comments as a gentle but firm goodbye to what's no longer aligned. I release what no longer serves me, so I can walk the sacred path God is leading me toward. Because this is the moment to remember, not everyone you love is meant to stay. I once held on to someone, simply because we shared too many memories. But memories can't hold someone who has already chosen to leave. Some people are sent only to awaken the lesson your soul came here to master. They are the beginning, not the destination. I know saying this isn't easy. Especially to a Sagittarius heart, where every connection carries a dream and depth. But you've reached a point in your journey where the truth can no longer be delayed. Those who are no longer aligned will quietly close their own chapter in your life, and you don't have to hold on anymore. They are not leaving because you're lacking. They are leaving because you've changed. And when you change, your soul begins to vibrate on a new frequency. A frequency that can no longer travel alongside pretense, manipulation, or envy. And that is a blessing in disguise. Remember this. When you stop shrinking yourself to make someone else comfortable, the right people will step in and lift you without asking you to trade away your essence. You will start seeing this in the days ahead. Maybe an old friend unexpectedly drifts away. Maybe a relationship goes silent. Maybe a job suddenly feels heavy for no clear reason. Don't be afraid. This is energetic clearing in motion, not initiated by you, but by the Sacred Mother who protects you from above. She knows you've endured enough. She knows you need space for the new to come in. And that new thing, it's on its way. But it needs you to be willing. It needs you to let go of the old, even if it's just the shadow of it left in memory. It needs you to believe that you deserve a love that comes not from effort, but from resonance. And if you truly are ready, write this affirmation as a divine invitation. I am ready for a love that is healthy, pure, and anchored in soul. And when I say love, I don't just mean romantic love. I mean everything you connect to with your heart, friendships, family, work, and especially your relationship with yourself. It's time to love yourself with more kindness. No more demanding. No more judging. No more tying your worth to someone else's approval. Because God didn't create you to be accepted. He created you to live in the light He placed inside of you. And Sagittarius, you know this deep within. Even when you forgot, even when you doubted, even when you were too tired to keep going, you still returned. Because you are a soul who learns through truth. And truth never betrays you. Maybe this is what you need to hear more than anything else. There is nothing wrong with you. You don't need to change to fit someone else. You don't need to be less, to be softer, to be less deep, just to be loved. Because the person truly meant for you will never ask you to dim your light so they can feel more comfortable in the dark. If you've ever been hurt by that, write this in the comments as a way to begin your healing. I no longer ask permission to shine. I am the light God created. And from where I sit, I can sense something shifting around you. A change, not yet visible on the outside, but very strong on the inside. You are no longer the old version of yourself. You are being called into the holiest part of your journey, where every choice comes from love, not fear. Where you will know, from your soul, that what is truly for you will never leave. And what does leave, simply no longer matches the light you now carry. You know? I used to think that if I was just good enough, patient enough, quiet enough, then things would eventually get better. That those who needed to understand me would understand. That those meant to stay would stay. But I was wrong about one thing. Silence is not always forgiveness. And patience is not always healing. Some things, some people, some relationships, the longer you hold back, the deeper the wound becomes. And sometimes, you don't need to learn how to endure anymore. You need to learn how to end. I say this not to encourage you to give up or walk away from everything. I say this because I believe, a soul like Sagittarius, with a heart full of light and longing, deserves to live in a space where you don't have to shrink so others can feel comfortable. You deserve to be surrounded by people who want you present not just when you're joyful, but who are mature enough to stay when you're vulnerable. You deserve a love that doesn't ask you to beg. That doesn't require persuasion. That doesn't make you feel like you have to be more in order to be kept. And that is when the Mother in Heaven steps in. I can't tell you exactly what she looks like, or who she is to each person. Because to every soul, the Sacred Mother wears a different face. Some see her in dreams, gentle like moonlight, silent like a prayer. Some simply feel her presence when the ears hear nothing, but the heart feels an entire sky calling. But one thing I know for sure, she is real. And she has never left. It was she who whispered to me. And no, it wasn't some beautiful illusion, as some may call it. It was intuition. It was divine alignment. It was one of those moments when I was in prayer, and a warm current of light passed through my chest. And I knew I had to speak. I had to say this. I had to send a message to someone who's listening, to you, that she is intervening. She is moving things that your physical eyes cannot yet see. She is removing harmful souls from your path, even when you still feel attached. She is opening doors you once thought were permanently closed. She is making space, so that the sacred may finally enter. And she wants you to understand this. Sometimes, loss is not the end, it's the beginning. I used to equate loss with failure. But then one day, I lost something I thought I couldn't live without. And in that emptiness, I realized, that loss did not make me weak. It helped me see who I was, when I was no longer clinging to anyone else. And from that moment on, I stopped living in fear of being left. I no longer needed to please everyone, or seek approval to feel worthy. I walked away, not because I was better than anyone, but because I finally understood. Worth doesn't come from who needs you. It comes from who you dare to become, even if no one claps. And I know, with your wide and beautiful Sagittarius heart, this isn't easy to hear. You were born to connect, to radiate, to love deeply. You're not someone who does anything halfway. And when you love all the way. But for that very reason, you need to learn to love yourself deeply enough, so you don't abandon yourself while trying to hold on to someone else. If these words are touching something inside you, if you've ever felt like you gave too much of yourself just to keep someone, write this in the comments as your moment of liberation. I will no longer shrink my soul just to fit into someone else's life. And here's what I need you to hear with your whole heart. There is nothing wrong with wanting to love deeply, to live authentically, to trust again. But do it from fullness, not from emptiness. Don't enter any connection just to fill a void. Let it be a resonance, not a rescue. Your mother from above, she doesn't want you to live in a loop of pain and fear anymore. She gently whispered, "You've learned enough. You've hurt enough. Now is the time to live, not just survive." Do you feel something shifting? Maybe you've dreamed of someone from the past without explanation. Maybe a place you haven't thought of in years suddenly appears in your memory. That's not random. That's the soul cycle returning to complete itself. Not so you can hold on, but so you can release in peace. Not to begin again, but to close with gratitude. So that you no longer look back with regret, but can see it as a stepping stone toward where you truly belong. If you're feeling something is coming to a close, write this affirmation for your soul. I allow the old to leave, so that the new may enter fully in light. And I want you to know, a new beginning is near. Not a fleeting one like before, but a true new chapter, where every decision you make comes from awareness. You will no longer love out of fear of being alone. No longer stay just to avoid being left. No longer remain because of guilt. You will choose, with clarity, with gratitude, with the kind of healthy love you once thought didn't exist. And if you, right now, feel like these words are speaking on your behalf, then stay. Don't walk away. Because the most beautiful part hasn't arrived yet. But it is coming, with every breath. I don't know where you are as you listen to these words. In a familiar room, in the middle of an ordinary day, or in a quiet moment after the world has gone to sleep. But I believe, wherever you are standing at the most sacred threshold of your life. Because not everyone gets to hear this. Not everyone has the courage to listen with their heart, instead of their mind. And if you're still here now, that means you're ready. Ready for a change that's not just outward, but deeply spiritual. This is the moment when heaven answers. Your mother, the one who's been watching every dream. Maybe you felt it, a warmth in the cold night, a flicker of light where you thought there was only darkness. Every fall, every silent sigh you couldn't speak. She is now taking action. Not through thunder, not through grand miracles, but through quiet, powerful movements. By causing doors to open in ways that feel accidental. By placing you in the right place, at the right time, so that what you once only dreamed of has a chance to bloom. This is when divine justice begins to unfold. You once asked, why'd I have to pay so much for things I never caused? And today, the answer is being sent. Because you are the one chosen to end the cycle. What you've endured, sometimes, it wasn't just yours. It was what you inherited from those who came before. Pain passed from one generation to the next. Unless someone stands and says, enough. Otherwise, it continues. But you are the one who said it. You are the one who endured enough, loved enough, forgave enough. For your soul to grow into a place it could never shrink from again. And when you chose not to seek revenge. When you chose to keep your light. Even as the world tried to pull you into darkness. That's when divine justice began to shift. Not through force, but through light. If you feel something awakening inside you now, write this as a call to destiny. I am ready to reclaim what was taken from my life, through love. Through grace, not through hatred. Things will begin to arrive in your life, unexpectedly. Not because of luck, but because you planted them long ago. A new opportunity. A new friend. A job that makes you feel alive instead of just functioning. An invitation you didn't see coming. And I know, you might hesitate at first. Because pain has taught you to doubt. But this time is different. What's arriving now is not from lack. It's from alignment. You'll know it's yours. Because you won't have to fight to hold on to it. It will feel peaceful, natural, and safe. It won't make you fear loss. It won't ask you to be anyone else to be loved. It will give you room to breathe. To be. To grow in light, not fear. Welcome it with gratitude, not hesitation. Write this as your declaration. I welcome all that is good from heaven, not with doubt, but with deep gratitude. Sometimes, the universe doesn't give us what we want. It gives us what our soul needs. And it usually comes when we stop rushing. When we learn to sit in stillness. When we understand we don't need to chase love, validation, or visibility. Because what's truly meant for you will recognize you. Even when you're not chasing it. And I believe you've arrived at that place. Maybe you're still scared. Still unsure if you're strong enough, ready enough for the next chapter. But let me tell you this, from someone who's fallen more times than I care to count. Readiness doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from choosing to move anyway. You don't have to wait until you're fully healed. You don't have to wait until you're perfect. You just need to be honest with yourself. And brave enough to believe that goodness still exists. That you are still worthy. Not because you achieved greatness. But because you still choose kindness. Still choose the light. Still choose love. Even when darkness surrounds you. And if you, a Sagittarius with a vast and noble heart, are still listening to this now, write it as your vow to the heavens. I choose to keep believing. I choose to live wide open. I choose the light. Because you are not alone. She, your sacred mother, has never left you. Not for a single moment. And today, as she speaks through my voice, she is wrapping her arms around you from beyond the veil. And now, with everything said, with secrets revealed, with light poured into the cracks you once tried to hide, I ask you to pause. Not to think, but to feel. Because what's touching you now is not logic. It is soul. A layer of dust is being brushed off. An old chapter is closing, gently. And you, a heart-led Sagittarius, who has walked for so long in the dark. You are being called into the light. Close your eyes, even just for a moment. And picture this. A door stands before you. And beyond it is a place you once only dreamed of. A place where you can be fully yourself, without asking permission. Where your voice is heard. Where your light doesn't make others uncomfortable. It makes everything warmer. Where you no longer carry the weight of healing others, but finally receive your own healing. See it now? It's not a dream. It's a future forming, right now. In the moment you choose to listen. To believe. To love yourself once more. I want you to understand this, not with your head, but with your heart. You are no longer who you used to be. What you've just heard. It's not just a message. It's a baptism in words. A sacred awakening. The beginning of a divine chapter. Free from the chains of the past. Free from fear. Free from doubt. Your mother, she has seen everything. From above, she doesn't see you as broken, doubtful, or not enough. She sees a soul who fell. Who rose again? Who kept their light burning? Even when everything else went dim. She loves you. Not because you did everything right. But because you never gave up. And she whispered to me, one last thing, to tell you. You don't have to carry anything else. You've gone far enough. You've learned enough. You've hurt enough. Now, live. Just one word. But how many of us have forgotten how to do it? Live. Not survive. Not perform. Not strive to be enough. But truly live as yourself. With reverence. With freedom. With love that needs no permission. Hold this in your heart, like a sacred prayer from today forward. Lord, I've endured enough. Now, I give myself permission to live, fully aligned with the purpose you gave me. You deserve this. Not because you're perfect, but because you're still here. With a heart still soft enough to love again. Brave enough to believe again. And honest enough to begin again. That's not weakness. That's strength. The kind of strength heaven recognizes. And if you feel something has just been lifted from your heart, let it rise. Whether it's a tear, a breath, or a quiet release, let it move through you. You don't have to hold it back anymore. You don't have to be strong the old way anymore. From now on, you are allowed to be soft. Allowed to need someone. Allowed to love yourself like your soul is a temple. Sacred. Living. Irreplaceable. Let the final word be yours. If you can feel your heartbeat in this very moment, then you are ready. Write it down, as a way to connect with what's beyond. As your soul's vow to the heavens. I am ready to step into the life heaven prepared for me. No more doubt. No more delay. I am ready. And if what you just heard moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Someone out there, just like you once were, is waiting for a reminder. A light. A reason to return to themselves. Share this. Send it to the one that comes to your heart. Because maybe, today, you weren't just the one receiving heaven's message. You became part of someone else's. We never walk this journey alone. And you, Sagittarius, you never have.